Okay, goal today is to talk about how, last week we did proportions on conversions, talking about, how to change money exchange rates. We're still going to talk about that today a little bit. But the goal today on section 5.2, 5.3 on proportions, because that's what we're dealing with, proportions, we're going to talk about maps today. Because this is one of the things we talked about earlier this year, but we never really came back to it because I said we're going to see it later in the textbook. Well, today is the day. We're going to talk about how to use a proportion, but to do it with an actual geographical map.
In Bulgaria.
So geographical maps and how to do conversions. Okay, the big thing today, what we need to talk about, is we need to discuss the actual key of a map. Okay, now, if you're looking at your page 40 should look something like this. Okay?
Yep.
That's a big picture of the U.S.
Yep.
Okay, now that you're there, in the corner, they have a part that is an actual answer key, and it's a legend, if you will, in the corner that tells you what actual lengths are. What I mean by that, let me focus in on the camera so the camera can see it here. Hi. That is a key. That's your legend that we're going to use. Okay. Question?
I'll pull it up. For the homework that's due tomorrow, I'm kind of confused on how to start on it.
Okay, I'm going to tell you to recommend that you're going to have to watch the notes and then come back from last week. Because you have to set walls equals, set certain things equal.
So like,
Because I'm recording.
is there a specific date?
It's due tomorrow, but I would say the date you want to watch Wednesday, Thursday last week. Okay. Alright, so the legend you're going to be looking at is this thing. This is our lengths that we're going to be using. Okay, and what we're going to do is, these are in terms of miles, so if we actually measure, it'll tell me in length how many miles is what. So let me give you a ruler here, so we can actually look at this. So again, we're looking at, a picture of the United States. So here's my picture of the U.S. I'm going to draw a really terrible looking U.S. Here it is.
I think I'm pretty good.
Alright, there you go. There's U.S.
That's better than what I can draw.
Yeah, so, alright. In the corner, they had the legend down here, the key. We're going to put a ruler up next to this, and we're going to actually measure this with a ruler sitting next to it. We're going to measure in centimeters. Okay, because centimeters for us is about as accurate as we need to be. So, here's your rulers, and I'd like you to measure in centimeters, please. So measure that legend. Measure the bottom line from the start to the back.
Wait, which one are we using, centimeters?
Yeah, centimeters. Yeah.
7.5.
So yeah. So when you measure 7.5, almost perfectly. Let's see. Yeah. Let's go 7.5. Yeah, we'll go 7.5. So when we actually place the ruler down, this was 0 centimeters. And 7 was right here, and then this was 7.5 centimeters. All right, now here's the thing. So Eric, on this bar that was right above it, how many miles did they say that was? On that bar. How many miles? It should be on a number that's right above it.
500.
So 500? Yeah, 500. So that is 500 miles on that map. So that bar right there is 500 miles. That's the real distance. Okay? What we measured it out to be was 7.5 centimeters. Okay, that's my my legend. That's my ratio. Okay? So here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to find Las Vegas.
Ooh, you're way down here, sir. Not that fun.
Vegas.
Oh, wait, no, it's not.
Okay, Vegas should be in this general area. Let me spell it.
Nevada.
Yeah, Nevada area. Okay. So find Vegas. Okay.
Yeah.
Once you have Vegas, I would like you to find.
Needs to be a place that actually ends up with it.
Let's go Seattle. It's up here.
Ah.
Go to Seattle. Seattle, Washington. Not DC, but Washington, actual state.
Okay.
Seattle's up there. It's right in that little den. I didn't throw it down.
It's
Large
like
enough. All right. So now that we have that, okay, you need to tell me the distance in centimeters between that town. So you actually have to put the ruler down and be as accurate as possible. Now you're going to be measuring in centimeters.
Does 13 say anything?
That sounds about right. 13 centimeters.
Thank you.
Okay. Again, when you're placing down, in fact, I'm going to use a ruler just to confirm my numbers here, because I want to make sure that I'm as accurate as you guys are being. So, Seattle to Las Vegas. I think all the maps in here are the same. I don't think there's any differences in these. Let's see, Vegas, Seattle. Yeah, 13 on the dot. You're right. You're absolutely right. Okay, so here's how this works. This number right here is the number we're going to try to find. Okay. So, how do we solve that proportion? What do we do?
You could do the 13 times 500 and divide by 7.5.
Boom. 13 times 500 divided by 7.5. If you have a calculator. Now, what will be my label in this answer?
You're closer.
What will the label be on my answer? What am I looking for?
Miles.
Miles.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm looking for miles. Hey, you're gonna need to grab a calculator right now. So, go grab a calculator, please. Okay, you're gonna grab two. I'll grab one of mine. I got one on my desk.
Cash. Oh, this one's open already. Thank you.
Okay, I wanna know how many miles that would be. And then I'm going to show you some actual technology we can use to figure out real distances here. And we're going to try it again.
866.667.
Boom. 866.67. And then, I think it's 667 or whatever it is. It repeats, I think.
Yep.
That's 800 miles. Now, to prove my point, I'm going to pull this up on Google, and we're going to show that we're somewhat accurate. Because Google can do this for us. Okay, so let me show you this. Because some people they want to use technology. They don't want to use old school legends and maps. They want to actually see it like Google in front of them trying these numbers out. So I'm going to leave this little key on the board here, just so we can use this. Because this is the page we're going to be on. So we're on page 40 of that atlas, and we're using the legend. 500 miles is 7.5 centimeters. Now here's the problem. If we flip to a different page, it has new legends. Every page has its own, so that's why we're going to have to use this. So, turning on the projector here, and we're going to check this out. We're going Vegas to Seattle. All right, here we go. So, if you're looking up here, a lot of you can do this on your Chromebook, but I just want to show you how we're going to attempt it. So, this is Google Earth. All right, here we go. Okay, here we go.
What? Someone else.
Alright. Yeah. Alright. Okay, here we go. Let's pull up Google Earth and we're gonna check this out so it can actually show the numbers. Boom. Alright, here's Google Earth. Now, the cool thing about Google Earth that you can do, if you zoom in, you can type, the two cities themselves. So I'm going to zoom in here. This is pretty good. But I'm going to type in, and I can get directions from one town to another. So watch this. So Las Vegas.
Can we do this?
You can. Technically on your Chromebooks, they do. Ooh. Alright, so cancel. Las Vegas, Nevada to. So get directions. So Vegas. Ooh, geez. I typed enter. Las Vegas to, and we're going to Seattle. Boom. Okay, there we go. So if you're checking this out, boom, I'm gonna stop right there. So you can see Seattle's up here, Vegas is way down here, and they have the little green and red arrow. So here's the cool thing. On Google, if you're especially not on the mobile service, but when you're on an actual Chromebook or a MacBook or some PC, they have this little toolbar at the top. There is a ruler that you can click on. The ruler will bring up a dialog box, and here it is. This is the box that will pop up. When you click on the map, it will take you into miles. So watch this. If I click on Seattle, and I start dragging my cursor, you see that the numbers on my little box is changing? And I go down to Seattle, it'll tell me my numbers. It tells me that my mileage is 871.4 miles. Okay, 871. What was the number we just came up with a little bit ago?
871.
What was our number that we just said a little bit ago?
Like that's 6.
866. That's the number we came up with. 866.67 miles. We are off by 5 miles. That is not bad for using a geographical map and not technology. And that is straight as a crow flies, not driving on the curvature of the earth. Okay? So, but that's impressive that we can get that accurate. Now, here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to flip in your atlas now, and let's go to Europe now. Go to Europe.
What page is that?
Next page.
So, we're going to
South
Europe.
America. 48.
Not South America, but Europe. Okay, here we go.
Asia.
Okay, the page I would like you to be on. Page 68. Let's see if they have a better one.
Line.
Yeah, 60.
There's.
Alright, so 68. Okay, let me show the picture we're looking at. Okay, here's page 68. That's our European maps. Okay, these are probably out of date. A lot of these countries change borders a lot and change names. Okay. Like Czech Republic and whatnot. Alright. Now, in the corner, I would like you to figure out the key. Where's the key at?
Guam.
Where's the key? The legend that we're going to use to measure. What does it look like? Boom, found it. Okay. Sam, tell me how many miles is that on the bottom one? 1,000. Let me back up here so we can focus. It's 1,000 miles right there. 1,000 miles. There's my legend in the corner. Okay. I would like you to measure that. So you need to take your ruler, measure that length. Measure it in centimeters. The bottom one, please. Now be accurate here because we're not at the halfway point.
7.5.
Not quite.
5 1/2.
5 1/2.
Nope. What marker are you landing on?
5 0.
How many hash marks in? It's not half.
Oh, no, it's 4.
3 or 4? I'm going to say 3.
Yeah.
Let's say it's 3. Okay, what that is, if I get rid of my map here, we'll come back to this. So,
Hide it.
there we go. If we're looking at a European map, now this is going to be terrible. Here we go. Here's Italy. Here's Greece. All right. Okay. And the actual legend over here said 1,000 miles.
I think we're gonna have to play Monopoly tomorrow.
Okay. And when you put your ruler down below it, it said, when you actually measured this out, this was 0 centimeters. This was, I think it was like 5.3 or 5.4 centimeters. You're at the 3rd hash mark. 5 was here, and you're about 3 or 4 hash marks in, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so on this one, so this page, that was 68, it had a different legend. It said 1,000 miles was 5.3 centimeters. You see how, like, every time you change a page, the legend changes?
Yep.
Okay, here's what I'd like you to find. I'd like you to find Paris. Paris, France. Okay, Paris, France. It's big.
Perfect.
Okay, find Paris. so find Paris.
I'm just gonna keep going until I reach the end.
It's a little bit further north than what I have drawn, and my drawing is terrible.
Hey, Yemen.
Okay, have you found Paris?
No. Wanna be on the same
Page
page?
68. It was on that same page you were just on.
So let's keep going.
68. Go find page 68. Here it is. Find Paris. You're gonna have to turn it a little bit. This is more or less. Find Paris. It's over by France. So for you, you're gonna have to turn it. Find Paris, France. Okay. Find Athens, Greece.
Oh, where the heck is that?
Weird.
What'd you say?
Down. Look at my picture. Past Italy. Past the boot. I'm in Athens. Past the boot.
Oh, past the boot. So it's down here.
Yeah, past. Go past it. If you look at my picture, Paris is up here. Right
Yeah.
down there. It's past the boot.
Oh. I see Colombo.
Where?
Am I too far ahead? I see Colombo.
Where's
Wait.
What are you talking about?
I'm there.
No, you're way past. Paris, here's the boot. Go past it. Okay, your finger's almost right on. Athens, Greece. Boom. Athens.
I can hear.
Yeah, they just they have the actual European direction. Okay. Oh, that's nice. So Athens, Athena, or whatever you want to call it, Greek. Okay. All right. I'd like you to figure out the distance between them. I'm actually really impressed that I actually had the correct pronunciation.
And it's like 2 lines off after the 7, so.
So 2 hash marks past 7.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we're doing 1,000 miles, 1,000 miles is 5.3 centimeters, and you just got 2 hash marks past 7 at 7.2 centimeters. When you're 2 hash marks, it's 0.2. If you're 3 hash marks, it's 0.3. It's kind of nice, the metric system. I want you to solve that. This will be your last one today. I want you to solve.
We're still not gonna be able to play.
7 point. Good. And 1, 2, 3.
So you're cross multiplying and dividing. What do we get?
1358.490. And then
0.498.
566.
Like that. Is that the right numbers? Did I write down the number wrong? 1358.
490.
Okay, 490. Okay. 490. Alright, is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, what is this in terms of mileage? Ooh. That's 1,000 miles. That's a long ways. It's almost 1,400 miles. Okay, that's a long distance. It's deceivingly long. Okay, the U.S. compared to this distance, you're going halfway across the U.S. Okay, this map looks small, correct? Like going from Athens to Greece. That is an incredibly long distance. Okay, it's one of those things a lot of people would never think that, because you look at the map, and the deceiving part about it is that Europe looks so small compared to the U.S. You go back to page 68. But the idea was that they zoomed in really far. That was the difference. So they're trying to. I'm trying to get you to see that when you use different maps, that don't judge it on how close the cities are. You have to look at the scale. You have to do the math to figure that out. That's way further than you think it is. That's way further than going from Seattle to Vegas. Okay. Questions, comments about what we did here today? All right, we're done for the day. We're going to get back into what we were talking about on Friday.